Another edition of Smarknado. I'm your host, Eric Druckman. With me, as always, the Danaconda, Dirty Dan Sesnit. Dan, how are you doing today?
I am the least punctual person today, but I am doing good. Lost track of time here before our live stream, so I apologize to anybody that was waiting for us. But we're
You
here
know,
now, and
things got turned a little upside down, but I say that we're right side up now, and we're ready to go, ready to talk to you all about professional wrestling. Dan, are you drinking a Prime?
I am. I
Oh
am.
my God! What? You shill?
I was trying to block it out so you couldn't see it, but yeah, no, it's not bad stuff.
Oh no!
It's like Gatorade, but better.
Dan has just become such a tool.
No, it's
You know?
uh,
I can't believe this day has happened.
truthfully, Gatorade is against my better judgment for to drink anyway because it came from the swamp, and we all know my affinity for Florida State and fuck the Gators. So
Well, yeah, I guess you're right about that, but I don't really want to support the business of Logan Paul. We have to see enough of him as it is, even though I begrudgingly have to admit that he is amazing at what he does.
very good at what he
But I
does.
digress. I think that what we should really be talking about is the thing that's on the minds of not just wrestling fans, but it was something that purposely went viral by design. I would say that a lot of people have approached me about it and been like, "Oh wow, wrestling is back right now." People that don't really watch. Um, I think that and of course, I'm talking about the end of Raw, Rock
Oh,
coming
you
out.
you weren't talking about CM Punk coming back in Chicago?
Jesus Christ, I thought that was garbage. I thought that was a pile of fucking shit. And that guy is just so fucking full of himself. And
Yeah,
he wouldn't even cooperate with like going along with the promos. He was so fucking self-serving. And yeah, Drew was just like, no, you don't get the last word. You're not even in this match, motherfucker. Like he basically said that to him.
he
Punk
did.
is such a piece of shit, man. And I just
There was a
Danny,
couple of good
that should
lines
get me going.
that Punk got in, but I think in general, Drew
But
actually
like
won the back and forth.
also, like, it was a whoa moment when he said, "Oh, who called you the chosen one?" But you don't want to put somebody in a position like that where there's a very taboo topic and you're just like tiptoeing around it.
Yeah,
I didn't agree with it. Him even bringing that up,
I
Um,
wouldn't say that was the smartest to way to go on that either.
no, no, he's such an arrogant piece of shit. I'm sorry, and
Yeah,
I really
I mean,
can't help myself with him. And he just has no right to speak the way he does, considering how fucking brittle he is at this point.
oh
I
yeah, he is a
honestly,
fucking twig.
yeah, yeah,
Like snappable is what I mean by that. I wouldn't even call him a twig in that regard, but no, he is absolutely contributed next to nothing.
he said
In
that the
this run.
Rock, the last time him and the Rock got together, his Rock's arms were not long enough to box with God. Get the
Yeah,
fuck out of here.
and that's not even a line of his own. He stole that from somebody else.
Yeah.
So like, truth be told, like, yeah, that's a cool line in a promo, but that was, the first time I heard that was You God from Wu Tang. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
truthfully, like that was '92. So CM Punk, rehashing something that he already stole, that tends to be par for the course for that guy.
He's just I see right through him at this point. And like he has no right talking from where he is and where he's at in his career right now. If he was talking this way in 2011 at his peak, I would have no problem with it. But it's just, bro, you suck. And I thought that when Drew went to Mindy's, that was hilarious too. And it does beg the question: what kind of business isn't open on Mondays and Tuesdays?
A lot of Italian restaurants aren't open on Mondays. It's a thing.
Yeah,
So I
it's
know that
kind of
much.
weird. It's kind of
Um,
weird though.
because they're open all weekend. And that's busy, and Sundays are busy. So
So
typically
Mondays
that's
and Tuesdays are the days off.
Yeah, there's a lot of I think that there's a bakery down here, if I'm not mistaken, that's closed on Mondays as well. So I don't
Oh,
think it's that abnormal, but I will say excellent job of trolling by Drew.
yeah. Drew has really been the star going into this world heavyweight title match against Seth, man. And obviously so, since Seth is so preoccupied with everything that's going on with the bloodline and all that. But Drew is just putting on amazing work. Um, before we get to the last segment, where we stand right now, do you foresee Damian Priest cashing in at WrestleMania?
No,
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 you think
I
he
don't.
just saves it?
I do. I think it's. I think that that's something. Maybe, but to me, that's such a special moment having Seth do it. All those years back, and it was just. It's going to be hard to replicate that. I also don't think that Damian Priest sort of has the heat that Seth had at that time. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be hard to get the fans behind it if it does happen.
Sure, sure. Um, yeah, but I'm wondering how that's going to play. I think in the end, though, I would love to see Drew beat Seth right now, and maybe Seth can help Cody along with more bloodline stuff. I don't know.
It
Um,
it it feels like one of them is going to get left out in the cold here after WrestleMania.
yeah, yeah. But damn, bro, let's talk about that last segment because
Sure.
I thought that just everything that happened here, from the fact that The Rock wasn't even announced for this show, and he
Yeah.
came out, and it just evoked this genuine like oh shit reaction from the crowd, was just made it so exciting, gave me goosebumps. And then it was a bit of a letdown, a bit
Uh-huh.
of a letdown when he came to the ring and said the one thing to Cody, and obviously there was a big payoff to it. We know that he said to Cody, I'm going to make you bleed, and he did. And we had the last segment of the night. Rock was going full Hollywood here, full Hollywood supervillain. I loved every minute of it. Um, I just think, yeah, I know you criticized me for saying it was cinematic, but with all due respect to everything else that we've seen that in a wrestling sphere has been cinematic, this is kind of like a hard one to beat in that respect. You know,
I will give the credit where it's due. If anybody is going to evoke cinematic response, I think The Rock can do it. He is
yeah,
a genuine movie star. Um, and he's never really played the villain in a
hmm
major way. He's always sort of been the hero. So it was definitely intriguing in that regard. And um, I mean, blood and ass whippings and whatnot on WWE TV is a welcome sight. But let's be honest with each other, man. It's definitely different, surprising.
yeah. It brings just such a cool new intrigue to the product. Everything here, it feels very comic booky. The way that like the whole dynamic has been with Cody and then The Rock and Roman Reigns and the Bloodline, and it's very epic and it's cool. It gives a different feel to this build to WrestleMania, and I'm genuinely excited just because like I feel like maybe the better part of the last 20 years, the main event matches are the matches that I'm not really looking forward to the most, you
Yeah.
know? Um, but this year it's a lot different. And it's not to say I'm not looking forward to a lot of other matches, but like I'm genuinely looking forward to the night one and night two main events.
I don't see a scenario where ultimately you had said that you thought that maybe The Rock ultimately helps Cody win.
Mhm.
After that, do you still feel the same way?
Not really. Um, I think that opinion, looking back on it in hindsight, is just kind of the opinion of, well, The Rock can't be a heel for too long. But you know what?
Yeah.
in this current landscape and how he has presented himself and whatnot, and the more people know, I think he really can pull it off, and I think that it's going to go into SummerSlam, and I think that in SummerSlam time, we might see a proper Cody versus Rock match 1-on-1.
Maybe, or maybe that's ultimately when you do see The Rock versus Roman. That build comes somewhere somehow out of
Yeah,
all of this. Not necessarily because The Rock helps Cody, but whatever the reason. Maybe The Rock tries to help Roman and doesn't work, or maybe the Roman just takes offense to The Rock calling himself the final boss, right? Like, and I'm the and Twitter discourse aside, with the whole final boss and Samoa Joe having the T-shirt and this, that, and the other thing, like
Mako
maybe
Satomura.
that too.
Yeah,
Plenty of people have used that
yeah,
name, so that didn't bother me, but it's easily worked into a storyline if you wanted it to be, because I mean, shouldn't ultimately Roman be the final boss, right?
he
Like,
should be.
if we're really looking at it, so maybe that's like a moment where it's a cause for pause for Roman and the relationship with The Rock.
Yeah, it's all. I feel like it's already a little bit of a power struggle, a subtle power struggle between those two. And I think it's just going to become the lines are going to become more and more clear as
Mm-hmm.
we go on in the coming months. I think that it's really about how much Rock wants to commit to wrestling right now. If he wants, I don't know if he has any upcoming movie projects that are going to take up a lot of his time. I imagine that he
I don't
would.
know.
I hope he doesn't, because I think that the best thing for wrestling right now, just as a whole, is if he like clears out his schedule and is there for the majority of the year, and we build up to like tension between him and Roman as the year goes on, and we do end up with him versus Roman next year. But I think in a year long build, it could have a lot of heat.
It could have a ton of heat in a year-long build, but I think that it's tough to keep The
And you don't
Rock
need the
away from
championship for
Hollywood.
it. You don't need the
No,
championship for it either.
not at
Which is
all.
good.
It's going to be tough to keep Rock out of the movies. That's all.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. Um, I just think that yeah, him considering him being the biggest Hollywood star, it would be unfathomable. I don't know why it took me so long to say that word, but unfathomable for The Rock to not have any like very high profile movies on his schedule for the next year. So
Down the pipe,
um,
yeah.
if they have to go towards, I don't know, next WrestleMania, so be it. But I'm enjoying the ride
SummerSlam.
right now. That's absolutely valid, and I think that we have a pretty solid WrestleMania card night one, night two so far, Dan.
I completely agree. I I poo-pooed the build a little bit a couple of weeks back, and I think I did that fairly. I didn't personally dig it. It's heated up. We got a week out now from the first night, and I am excited about it. Particularly the main events, which, as you said, it's important to note that the main events as of late have been underwhelming at best, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
So
and I think that it's also worth mentioning from Raw that the Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch feud got a lot more heat in that
mhm.
promo that they went back and forth on, and Ripley was just questioning Becky's ability to be a mother. I think that was the line. But regardless, Becky decked Dominic. I thought that was a huge moment,
Yo,
and
she caught him flush too,
yeah,
brother.
yeah.
I don't know if that was a pulled punch or not, but the slow motion of that was damn.
Oh yeah, they showed it right on replay. It was killer.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was great, man. Because this was a match that like I was just kind of like even like going into this segment, I was just like I could go without it just because I don't really care about this match. I feel like Becky versus Rhea it was just kind of forced to happen in a way, in a way that like they had that WrestleMania press conference and Becky and Rhea faced off, but it was even before Becky ended up winning the Elimination Chamber to face Rhea. So I think parts of those build, considering those factors, like I wasn't looking forward to this shit as much, but now I'm really excited for this match. They got me.
Too.
Yeah. We got Gunther and Sami Zayn. That's going to be great. I think that has the ability to be a show stealer either night 1 or night 2. Like,
have they announced? I was going to say they haven't announced what nights are what yet. It's
what matches are night 1, night 2. I mean, the only obvious ones are the title matches on night 2, and then the tag team match on night 1.
Yeah.
But also announced that last night, we had LA Knight versus AJ Styles is going to happen. That match has a lot of heat to it. I feel like they've done a really good job of like these feuds having a lot of layers to them, and then we got the U.S. title match: Logan Paul, Randy Orton, and Kevin Owens. That's going to be interesting. We got the tag team ladder match: Balor and Priest versus DIY versus the Awesome Truth, New Day, New Catch Republic, Austin Theory, and Grayson Waller.
Let's go, Pete Dunne.
Hell yeah, man. I don't know. I don't know if they end up winning it, but I think there will be new tag team champions from that.
I do too. I just haven't come down to who I think it's going to be yet.
You know what? I can see them playing it safe and going with the New Day. And you know what? For the fans in attendance, I don't think anyone would mind it.
If Big E can come out and celebrate with them, even though it's not any real physicality, that would be nice. I think it's going to be Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, to be honest with you.
You know what my hope is for that match? And it also, you really think it's going to be Grayson and Theory?
I have that feeling for some reason.
I just want it to be a proper tag team. I mean, whoever it is going to be. But yeah, you know what my hope is for this match? Is hopefully they do away with the fucking Spartan style tag team championships.
I mean, they're gonna
WWE tag team championships.
I think it's still gonna be a Spartan style. It's just gonna be a different color.
Why are they so obsessed with doing the Spartan style?
I don't hate them as much as you do.
It's already been like 15 years.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate them as much as you do, but I get your point.
Nah, the old style ones with the World Tag Team Championships from the 90s, bro, those were fucking dope.
Yeah, they're my favorite, but can't go back to those, it's just
they don't have to go back to those, but like also like they really can just get a new design. They generally don't ever have the same championships for that long of time.
That is correct. It is usually not for that long.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, also announced last night, we got Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee versus Dominic Mysterio and Santos Escobar. If they give it time, it's going to kill. It's going to be really good if they give it time. Really? This just kind of strikes me as a match that they would give like 10 minutes tops to. Don't you feel?
I definitely don't think it'll get the time it deserves. I don't even see that on my list of matches here, but that's interesting. I must have missed that on SmackDown.
Yep. And then big six-woman tag was announced too. Asuka, Kairi Sane, and Dakota Kai versus Bianca Belair, Naomi, and the debuting Jade Cargill.
Smart booking for her in a debut.
I think so too.
Really smart booking for her
because she's surrounded by two very strong workers and characters, and they're going against a serious women's faction that has a lot of heat to them.
And every single woman in that match is talented, right? Like Bianca, is Bianca, right? Obviously, and Asuka has been doing this forever, and Kairi's been doing this forever. It's just there's just so much talent in there that it's going to be hard for her to stink up the joint because there's going to be so many other talented women in the match. But I think
Agreed.
she's ready, and I'm excited for that. I'm glad that she's part of this card.
I am too, man. And I missed SmackDown last night because friend of the show John was having a bachelor party. We want to congratulate John on everything, your wedding.
What happened? What happens at the wine bar stays at the wine bar, Eric.
Yeah. I'm not going to speak any further because there were some really disturbing atrocities that were committed.
Some shenanigans.
So, yeah, absolutely. You know him. He's just.
Yeah. You guys are a bunch of wild men.
For anybody.
No regard for human life. No regard. No regard whatsoever.
A real lousy piece of shit. We love you, John. Anyway.
Sorry I couldn't be there, but yes.
Yes, Dan. What happened on SmackDown last night?
You actually mentioned most of the stuff that I wanted to bring up. The Jade, signing of her contract. She's a SmackDown superstar, so that's cool for her. I kind of always thought that was going to be the case. And that was pretty much the main takeaway that I had, other than the New Catch Republic, Dunn and Bate making their way into the title match. Yeah. I like seeing Pretty Deadly too. Even though I hate those Kevin Owens it's Kevin Owens and Randy, and I hate the opponents at Mania are partners. Like, I've never been a big fan of that. Like, can they coexist? Like, I just think it's a dumb fucking trope. But
yeah, also considering how they teamed up like a few weeks prior.
Yeah, it's just not my thing. I think it's silly, but I love Pretty Deadly, man. That team is
do too, man. I think they're just so fucking hilarious, and I wish that they had some sort of, like they do in NXT, where they do like the hosts of the pay-per-view type of deal for like certain shows, because they would kill it. Imagine them as the host of WrestleMania.
Oh no, that was just CM Punk is doing the commentating for the one match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but just curious, did they do any more build to Bayley versus Io Sky?
No, not that saw.
That's disappointing to me, man. They got to have a really strong go home SmackDown with respect to Io and Bayley, because I just feel like, even though Bayley has won, that storyline has kind of been thrown by the wayside in a way.
Yeah, it's almost like it's getting overshadowed by Cargill's debut now.
Yeah.
In a weird sort of way, unfortunately. But I still think it's going to be one of the best matches on the show, regardless. So
I think so too.
And I do still think Bayley's going to ultimately win that. But we'll have our preview show next week, I'm sure.
Yeah. Absolutely. So overall, just really excited about WrestleMania, man. I think
it was a good week. It was a really good week of WWE, and I know that there's probably going to be some jaws hitting the floor hearing me say that. Whether it's live or on tape delay, but they did put on a really good week of wrestling, and so did Dynamite. Really, so did AEW. Top to bottom, it was a great week of wrestling.
Absolutely, man. And I just realized that I failed to mention anything about Jay versus Jimmy. I mean, I know that's happening on the card. That's it's going to be what it is. I mean, I think that Jay is just the star out of those two. And, I want to see more from him.
It's been a bit of a confusing ride to get there, but it'll be a really good match. A lot of super kicks, I predict.
There's going to be, I would say so, yeah. Do you see?
A couple, 2, 3.
Oh, here's something for you. I'm glad I brought up this match because it sparked something in my brain. Do you see the Jay versus Jimmy match involving the debut of Tama Tonga?
I mean, it'll be stupid if it is, because, I mean, truthfully, he's not fucking Samoan. He's Tongan, so
they're tight with Haku.
Cool.
They've always been tight with Haku.
Cool, but he's not part of the bloodline. But he's not part of the bloodline. I think it would be better to have him be involved with AJ somehow, some way.
Yeah, he helps AJ. He helps AJ beat That'd be great, man. I think that's a better booking decision, Dan. I would defer to you if we were at the board meeting and you made your pitch. I'd be like, that guy's pitch is actually a lot better.
Yeah, I just think it makes more sense. They have a connection with the former Bullet Club, and especially with Gallows and Anderson too. So I think that's some place that you could pop him in there, and I don't think it would get a big reaction from the crowd because I don't think that as many WWE fans really know who he is. But from guys like you and me, I think it'd get a
You
big
see,
reaction.
I think WrestleMania is actually the perfect crowd for him to debut in because there is so many hardcore fans as much as there are like casual fans in the
Yeah,
audience.
yeah,
They will be vocal about him
yes.
coming out, and be like, holy shit. There's
Mhm.
going to be enough of a reaction at that point versus if you were doing a Raw in Omaha, Nebraska.
Fair point.
There'd
Fair
be
point.
crickets,
Yeah, fair
Um,
point.
but yeah, I'm excited about
Or the
Mania.
Raw after Mania,
Yeah, sure,
maybe.
sure, absolutely.
Maybe.
But yeah, Dynamite from this week. Let's talk about that because I feel like it was a very notable episode. Before we get into it, though, we had a lot of discussion at the party yesterday, at the
Oh,
bachelor party, and I just want
uh-oh.
your take on this.
Okay.
About the low attendance numbers that are in AEW.
Ah, Jesus Christ.
Combination of low attendance numbers and, I don't think it had anything to do with the ratings, but, the way that I see it is, yeah, I see that they are having a low attendance, but you know what? I think that is very I think that's partly due to how week 2023 ended for AEW. It's not really reflective of like how their programming has done lately. So in my opinion, I think that as long as AEW stays the course with what they have been doing like the last month and a half, they shouldn't have any problem, getting the attendance back up and getting more of a following. What do you think, Dan?
I will say this with all due respect, and I mean this with all due respect.
I know you don't care.
I couldn't give a fuck less about how many people are in the building and how many people watch on TV. The rating system is a flawed system. Just hear me out. Hear me out. You wanted my opinion. I'm gonna give it to you. The rating system is a flawed system, right? I don't think it's a number that is reflective of how many people are watching, and I'm not saying that I just don't think it matters anymore. It's not the 1990s. It doesn't matter. So if it did matter, I might care more, but I don't.
I agree with you about ratings 100%,
Okay.
and that's why I
Now,
didn't specifically want to bring up ratings.
and now I will tell
But
you, having been in attendance recently,
yeah,
right?
well, yeah,
Regard
where it was wild.
It's much different. I understand this is an outlier in things, but I've been to live shows recently too. I went to a Collision. I've seen them. Regardless of who's in the audience, it's a passionate group of fans.
Yeah.
Do I wish that there were more there? Yes. But at the end of the day, you're going to get who you're going to get. We are not in the best economy. And tickets aren't cheap, man. And sometimes you just have to sacrifice certain things. And I think that I'm not trying to make excuses. I think the economy is not great. I would go to more shows if I could. Right. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, the people that are there love it.
Absolutely. And
they're putting on good shows.
They are. They have been. I wouldn't be coming to AEW's rescue if we were talking about this in, say, December 2023. I will absolutely say this lately. But yeah, I think that it isn't something that as fans, us viewing at home, should be concerned about to the point where it consumes us. I think that it's fair to be concerned about it if it got so bad that it was visible that you were watching on TV and there were pockets of areas where nobody is there.
Sure.
But it's not really the case right now. I think that they have a strong enough roster to bounce back. I think they have strong enough characters to bounce back. I think where they're at right now is a very good place. And again, if as long as they just stay the course with what they have been doing and have some consistency week to week, I don't think there's anything that they really need to worry about. And I think that they're not going to have a problem getting the fans back.
You're 100% correct. Just keep doing
Yeah.
what you're doing, and everything will be fine, right? You know, and as far as ratings are concerned, I hate to be touching on it again, but you could say what you want about a company and what their media rights are going to be worth and this, that, and the other thing. It was still the third show on cable
Yeah.
last Wednesday.
Hmm.
That's still very impressive. So just take all those numbers for what they're worth. Nobody's ever going to see the true impact that those numbers have. And at the end of the day, those numbers don't mean anything to us. That's like us saying, okay, that's like me being like, okay, in North Carolina, does Coca-Cola sell more than Pepsi? Oh, cool. Fuck Pepsi because I like Coke better. They sold more. Like it doesn't matter.
Hmm.
Like at the end of the day, it's not my pocket, right? It's not affecting my pocket. So ratings numbers, attendance numbers, TV deals, yes. Do I want to see AEW continue? Yes. Will it fail ultimately if those things aren't remedied in some shape, form, or fashion, at least a little bit? Probably.
Yeah.
But I don't think that they're doing anything right now that is driving viewers away.
Except for the Undisputed Kingdom.
But is it driving viewers away? Or are we just like this is stupid and we the next we're on to the
The
next show?
latter, but still.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just talk about Dynamite now that we
Yeah.
got that out of the way. Of course, hot opener here: Ospreay versus Shibata. This was
Two.
a rematch
Yep.
from when they faced off each other in 2017 when Will Ospreay was a young junior heavyweight in New Japan. I think that's really fucking cool, and I think that they need to do more video insets of prior matches
Yeah.
for more matches that happen. Let's even dig into the indies and show some highlights there of
If you
certain
can get the
matches.
rights to them, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. So, but obviously, this is going to be a much more different match because Shibata basically murdered Ospreay last time they faced each other. Shibata
And
has put on a significant amount of mass since that, or I'm sorry, Ospreay has put on a significant amount of mass since that time. So it was a
and
much more even match here.
Shibata also died since then. So
Yeah, and,
you know, puts
and
things in perspective.
right. And on the third day, he rose again. Happy Easter, everybody. But yeah, this was a really great, strong, hard hitting, strong style match. Will definitely wrestled a Shibata match here, and
Not vice versa.
I did not mind it one bit, just
He had
because, I think that's kind of how it should be. I think that Will Ospreay just kind of needs to show his adaptability to whoever that he wrestles, and I think that's a testament just to him having this label of being the best wrestler in the world.
yeah.
Mhm.
And he legitimately is. He's done that every week, and we're gonna get another match next week, where he's wrestling somebody of a completely different style.
And yeah, he's going to be
So
wrestling Hobbs next week,
yeah,
and this is the match that I have been hoping for a while. And I think that this is the type of match that can really elevate Will Hobbs's game, and AEW
gonna
cannot
be.
fuck up with Hobbs like they fucked up with Wardlow. They cannot. They cannot
They have
afford.
not yet, but this is going to be a scenario where Hobbs is going to have to lose. Unfortunately, like
Hobbs
you're
is
not
going
going
to have to lose, but I want to see him go the distance.
to. Maybe they go. It's gonna. I'm just intrigued to see if he can keep up with Osprey. I like Hobbs a lot, but Osprey is a different cat. You know what I
I
mean?
think he
Like,
can, man. I think he can because, like, if you look at Hobbs now from when he first debuted, he
mhm.
has shredded himself a lot more, and I think that his
Yeah,
cardio has gone up, and he does wrestle longer matches. If you think about the match that he had about a month and a half ago against Sammy Guevara on Collision, they went the
okay,
distance in that match, man.
yeah.
They really did, and I think he can. I think he can keep up with Osprey, no different than somebody like Jeff Cobb can, or Alex Coughlin, who unfortunately retired this
Poor
past
Ang.
week.
Yeah, that's a fucking bummer.
Huge bummer. But any of those big guys that Osprey has faced, I think that Will Osprey is going to be right up there with any of them, any of those big dudes.
Cool.
Yeah, but great match here. And then next we had the Young Bucks were backstage just being pricks.
The fucking faces they make it's just so good.
Mm-hmm.
So punchable.
Yeah, they're pieces of shit, and they do very, very well. And then we
Hey, hey,
have a rematch from the very first Dynamite, uh,
yeah.
the Young Bucks versus Private Party, and this was really, really fucking good, man. And I think that Private Party showed out and showed, that they haven't gone anywhere. I mean, yes,
No,
obviously Mark Quinn was injured for a bit,
injuries. Injuries.
but they are still a phenomenal young tag team that AEW can look to every single week to put on phenomenal matches. And I think that they played the roles of babyface really well here. They've been heels most of the time before. I think that they should really rethink that with
Maybe.
these dudes. I think that
They could
yeah.
definitely be tweeners. They could definitely be tweeners where, they pull shenanigans, but are still loved by the crowd.
Mhm. I loved Private Party hitting more bang for your buck too.
Yeah.
Very cool. Mhm. All right, next we had a video of Darby and Tony Hawk talking about how much skateboarding means to them, and I honestly thought Darby was gonna like do something physical here, but
He kind of did.
yeah, Tony Hawk did
A hand plant off
a
of
hand
the
plant
off of his
on
ankle.
his broken ankle. Jesus Christ!
But all told, it was a really good segment because it was to help raise money
Yeah,
and
it was
help out
charitable.
uh inner city skate parks and things of that nature. So that was very cool. And to have Tony Hawk is just awesome, right?
Yeah,
Like just Tony Hawk's
absolutely,
a legend.
for sure. And you know what freaked me out a little bit is people were responding to people on Twitter saying they didn't know who Tony Hawk was, and that just fucking blows my mind because like, how are you not aware of like even his brand, with his video
Uh,
games and stuff?
I mean, I think that his brand has come and gone. Personally, I'm sure there's a whole generation of people that have no fucking idea, unless they're skateboarders, right? So I kind of, but if you're an adult,
Yeah,
I mean, and never heard of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, that uh,
you're
I'd
weird.
be hard pressed to find any wrestling fan that wouldn't know who Tony Hawk is, right?
Yeah, that's how I feel, but apparently there are some out there.
It's fucking Twitter,
So
man.
yeah, so proposition that Chris Jericho had for Hook uh,
He did
came
not,
up.
in fact, suck his dick. I was wrong, people. I'm sorry.
Oh my god! But yeah, Dan, you said it best in the group chat when you said that this is something that Jericho could have totally texted Hook.
Should
Um,
have.
he offered him his advice anytime he wants it. Wow, what a fucking weak build. Who gives a
Hey,
shit?
hey, Hook, you can have my advice too. How's that sound?
Yeah, so stupid, man. All right. Number one contender fatal four way match: Statlander, Willow, Sky Blue, and Anna Jay. I thought this was pretty good here.
I thought this match was awesome, bro. This shit humped. I thought everybody in this match did exactly what they were supposed to do. Um, I loved it.
Yeah, I love the pounce from Willow in
Hmm.
this match. I thought that Chris crushed it, and I think the right woman won. I think the only thing to me that was just kind of like a little underwhelming was I thought Mercedes could have done more on commentary. Gonna be
Something
honest.
has just felt off about everything. I don't think she's cleared to wrestle yet, man.
You think so?
I don't. There's she's gotten no physicality really, has she?
No,
Like
zero.
I don't know, man. Something seems off here. I'll let it play out. But if she doesn't have a match for Dynasty, that's weird to me.
Yeah, yeah. I just hope she doesn't become the female CM Punk. That would
I,
bum
I
me
mean,
a bit.
I mean, if something doesn't materialize soon, as far as her, you know, booking is concerned, then I mean, maybe. I don't know. I'm baffled by it.
For sure. All right. Backstage with Dustin Rhodes and the Butcher. Okay, whatever. And then we had Tony Storm backstage with Ben Mankiewicz.
I love these segments.
I thought it was a great moment when she said,
"He's like,
I'm not going to say that." Yeah, he's just.
I'm not going to say that.
You say chin up. He goes chin up, tits out. I'm not going to say that.
I'm not going to say that. He crushed it. Those segments are always some of my favorite ones because he straight faces everything and he's really good. Mm-hmm. So it's a good comedic timing between the two of them.
Absolutely. Next we had AEW World Tag Team Championship quarterfinal match. The Kingdom against OC and Trent Beretta. This was fine. I guess I'm glad that OC and Trent won, and they're going to go on to face the Young Bucks here. I love the Young Bucks coming out and attacking them right at the end too.
It's kind of a bummer because I just want to see OC and Trent win, and I know they obviously won't. Just having that draw, but that's whatever.
I think that this will be the match where we see some defined cracks between Trent and OC.
We've been saying that for a while, so
I know we've been saying it for a while, but this is the match that they're both involved in that has the most stakes and the most meaning,
Yeah.
All right. Next we had Kyle O'Reilly backstage with Renee Paquette. It was just kind of a nothing promo.
Yeah, I mean it's he's got to get into it, and I hope that we do get him versus Roddy. Maybe they're slow building it to him versus Adam Cole. Who knows? But this whole shit is kind of meh. It's good to see him in the ring, but he's got no real defined story other than I might not have been able to wrestle, so I'm gonna wrestle people.
Mm-hmm. So. For sure,
and that's Daniel, and that's Bryan Danielson's story.
Yes.
So it's tough.
Someone else already has that real life story. Yeah. Main event was Takeshita versus Swerve for the #1 contendership. Holy fuck, this was a main event. I think that the only thing that hindered this, like it does with a lot of AEW TV matches, is the picture-in-picture, because there was just so much good shit that was happening in this match, and seeing those segments on the little so those spots sometimes on the little screen was just ugh.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
Yeah. The right guy won though. Swerve is going to go on. He is going to face Samoa Joe. My instinct at first is this is going to be the night that Swerve is going to win it from Samoa Joe. But you know what? I've actually rethought it, and Drew did give me some influence on this. Thought too is that I think that Joe is going to retain with help from Hangman, and Hangman is once again going to see to it that we're never going to see Swerve fulfill his destiny in AEW, and Hangman is constantly going to be that thorn in his side. And I think that ultimately will lead to Wembley, where it's going to be Ospreay against Samoa Joe, and Ospreay is going to beat Joe for the title.
So you think Swerve waits till when? I think that's insane, man. I with all due respect, again, that's bonkers to think that Swerve's not going to go over here because,
I don't think it's bonkers. I don't think it's bonkers at all. I love Swerve. I just think that he has.
When do you put the title on him then?
You can put it. You can have him beat Ospreay down the line. You sure?
When? A year from now? When all of his steam is gone?
I don't know.
Nah, man. It's got to be Swerve next. Do something else with Ospreay.
I want it to be Swerve. But I just see it happening. I see a more likely scenario where Joe retains and Hangman costs him.
I mean, it's not an outlandish scenario. I just think that we talk so often about how Tony Khan does not strike while the iron's hot. This is the spot where you will fail miserably if you do not strike while the iron's hot with Swerve. You're going to piss a lot of motherfuckers off.
So what do you do at Wembley though with Swerve as champion? Do you do him against Osprey or because it's going to be Osprey, right?
It doesn't. I don't know that it necessarily has to be Osprey in the title match at Wembley.
Mm-hmm.
Not this year. Maybe next year. I think Osprey's reaction from the crowd at Wembley, title or no title, is going to be monstrous.
Yeah.
And there's no shortage of people he can wrestle. So
Mm-hmm.
I just think that if you're making a huge mistake if you do not put the title on Swerve in the near future. And by the near future I mean at Dynasty. That's just my opinion.
Fair point, Dan. Fair point. And like I said, I hope Swerve does get the title sooner rather than later. It's just I see that Samoa Joe scenario happening, but again, it's not necessarily that I want it to happen.
And what if you do Swerve and Osprey at Wembley, and Swerve wins?
Who would be the babyface? Who would be the heel? That's the problem for me.
Osprey would be the babyface, and Swerve goes in heel.
You think that they could turn Swerve back heel?
I do. Even if they've always been very good at building babyface versus babyface matches, right? Mm-hmm. Especially if it's for a special event like Wembley, where Osprey is going to be a feature, right? So they build it as a babyface. Then, when Swerve wins diabolically, you have your heel champion again, right? Gives Osprey a reason to chase him. Yeah, does he get his moment at Wembley? No. But the money's in the chase.
How about this scenario? Because this is someone that we haven't brought up that is also on the roster that could be quite a problem to the main event scene. What if Swerve ends up winning, and in the main event of Wembley, we get Swerve versus Okada?
Not outlandish. You could also do Okada versus Osprey again.
Heel Okada. Yep.
You could also do Osprey Okada again.
Mm-hmm.
Why not?
With the roles reversed at this point. Yep. Yeah, but overall, I thought it was a very strong Dynamite. I liked it a lot. I mean, some things were just kind of like meh, but
they were there. They happened, but they didn't offend me.
I thought that the good heavily outweighed the bad overall. Sure. But we got a good collision tonight. First of which we have FTR versus the Infantry. I think this is going to be a really good match. I expect this match to get like 15 to 20 minutes, just so FTR can really put the Infantry towards a great match that will be impressionable on the fans. Mm-hmm. And I think that FTR ends up winning here.
I don't want FTR and Young Bucks, man. I hope the Infantry gets another upset. I think it would be cool to see.
It'd be cool to see, but I don't know if I see it there.
Like, do you want us, or do you really want Young Bucks versus FTR again?
No, but you know what I think is going to happen?
What?
I think that tonight Top Flight is going to upset Ricky Starks and Big Bill.
Oh, I agree with that.
And I think that Top Flight could end up beating FTR to face the Young Bucks.
Yeah.
How about it, though?
Yeah, I mean that. Either way, you get your baby face versus your heel. I'd rather watch Top Flight versus the Bucks, honestly.
Yeah. So, why not do it? I think that a great way to build Top Flight is for them to be the team. And with all due respect, I like the Infantry, but they're just not there yet. But no, I think Top Flight is completely worthy of beating FTR and then moving on to face the Bucks for the titles. I think that would be an amazing clash of the high flyers, young high flyers of the past versus the young high flyers of now.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Completely agree with you. I would love to see that. That's a better matchup. I just think that FTR versus Bucks is the one that Tony's going to want, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we got Thunder Rosa versus Lady Frost. I think that's just going to be a good match overall.
Yeah.
I really like how the last times that they've used Lady Frost, they've shown some of her highlights in Mexico. It's really giving her some credibility there. And, and then we got a trios bout, Lance Archer and the Righteous versus BCC, Danielson and Castagnoli and Shibata.
That's weird.
That's
But
gonna be great.
yeah, Shibata aligned with BCC is a little strange, but it'll be a great match.
I think it's interesting. I haven't seen Yuta on TV in a bit. I don't really know what's going on with him, and he is somebody who I feel maybe they're just strategically leaving him off TV because he's so easy to hate, and he might kill that vibe of what they're currently going for with BCC. I think they're kind of like baby faces a little bit more than they are heels right now on
Yeah,
the tweeter scale.
yeah.
So I'm curious about that. And then also there has been rumors that Moxley may be the next guy to be the IWGP champion.
Interesting.
Hmm. And I think
Very
that would be a good move to help
intriguing.
out that fledgling brand right now.
Yeah, intriguing. I like the concept of it. We'll see.
And then, of course, tonight we're gonna get a Cope Open Challenge. Except this time, he is going to be defending the TNT Championship, and I'm really excited about that. And I hope
I
that
am
this is
too.
the return of the TNT Title Open Challenge because that was just such a great time period in AEW.
It's what it should be because it's a fucking TV title. But who do you think it's going to be? I hope it's not something totally lame.
Who do I think it's going to be? I don't know, man. Uh, I don't know. You know what I would love? I would love if Copeland, and I would love it if anybody did this route. Cody Rhodes' initial concept of challenging the TNT title and putting it on the line against anyone in AEW or outside of AEW. You know, I would. That's what I would love to see.
Yeah, same.
That's my hope. So, like, I don't really care who Copeland faces. I would just like it to be like a surprise. I would like it for me to be like, oh my God, they're on AEW right now. Let's go. I want to see this. You know?
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I would like to see that. But I thought the same thing when I went and saw Collision here in Charlotte, and it ended up being Griff fucking Garrison. So I'm not gonna get my hopes up today. Uh,
Who the fuck is Griff Garrison, man?
precisely. Who the fuck
Yeah, with
is
that being
Griff
said,
Garrison?
then Cole Carter is going to challenge Edge tonight.
I'm gonna fucking.
Yeah, let's hope not. All right. Anyway, I think that's basically all we have for this week.
Yeah.
I think going into next week, we're gonna preview WrestleMania. I think that you and I should do some research on some of the indie shows that are going to be happening WrestleMania weekend because I think that we have casually have seen some of the builds to shows such as like Joey Janela's Spring Break, but for next show, let's look over a lot of the shows that are going to be happening / what we have access to, and
Sure.
preview some of those shows, preview some of the matches that we're looking forward to.
Absolutely. There's going to be a ton of it, and hopefully, I'm still currently out of work. I'm waiting on some job offers right now, but hopefully, I'll have the weekend off and I can just dive right in and then take some time off to decompress. But I know Spring Break is going to fucking rock, and there's a handful of other really good shows that I'm looking forward to. So,
I think match that I always think about that is going to be happening on WrestleMania weekend is whatever ECW show they're going to end up doing, how they're going to be doing the triple threat between Super Crazy, Lil Guido, and Tajiri. And that series of matches, I feel like, really got me into work rate wrestling. Just like these guys that are just like fucking working their fucking asses off, and just the precision and just the continuity of their moves from one spot to another. Yeah, I can't wait for that. And yeah, I think we'll have more for everybody next week. We'll scatter.
looking forward to it. Looking forward to it. I think it's time to wrap it up. So, what do you got for us, Eric?
As always, follow us on Instagram at Smarknado, on Twitter at Smarknado1. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, and go check out our link tree. Really check out our YouTube page, guys. We have some great videos on there, great interviews with really great indie talents that we have interviewed and episodes of this show. So
Yeah. And also stay fresh, cheese bags.
keep watching wrestling.